Good morning, guys. Welcome to this is week 5. I'm doing this 5 weeks already. Crazy, right? So we are moving on to theme today. Actually, leading up to theme, as you can see here. Um, before we talk about theme, then we have to back up a little bit and talk about um, a topic. And so, topic is a little bit broader than a theme. Um, as you can see here, it says, "What's the big idea?" The author of your novel has a reason for writing this book. So we don't really think about this, but beyond just making money, if you're writing the 10th sequel or whatever you're doing, if you write a whole novel, generally speaking, there's a reason that you're writing. You had something to say. If it's a book, especially if it's a book you like, there's some reason the author wrote that. What we're trying to get at with topic and then a little further down the line with theme is what is that message? What are they saying about the topic? What's the big idea of this whole piece of writing? All right, so topics is the first thing we're going to talk about. Topics are just the general 2, 3, 1 word answer that you give when I ask you, what's that book about, right? Examples could be about child abductions, could be refugees, could be a book about friendship, family ties, could be peer pressure, could be survival, gang involvement, drug addiction. Any of these things are topics. Those 1 or 2 word answers that you get when you ask that question, what's a book about, is a topic. All right, that's the first thing we got to understand. Now, topics lead you to that message. It leads you to what the theme is. Um, so first, you just need to discern. Discern is a word that just means figure out what they are. Some topics, those big ideas the author wants you to think about. So I didn't give you guys this handout because I gave you a different one, but I want you to just kind of think through this with me about your book. Um, Brainstorm some of the topics your author addresses in the book. So these could be anything. I mean, if your book is about baseball, you can say baseball. If your book is about a love story, you can just say relationships. Any of that stuff works. Okay, so pick one of those. Don't worry about the message right now. We're just talking about what the topic of your book is. So, how do you know this is an important topic in the book? So, the next thing you do is kind of think about, and it says write 3 sentences. And the handout I usually do in class, this is like a bell ringer type thing, and I have you do that in class. But right now, I just want you to kind of think about your book, and you can pause for a sec if you need to here, and just think about your book. What are 3 sentences describing how this topic shows up in your book? I just read this book today called Paper Towns by Paper Towns by John Green. I'm going to teach next year. And in that book, for instance, it's a book about a disappearance. A girl disappears, and then the boy is trying to find her throughout the book. So I would just say disappearance, right? Um, so here's an example from a book that I read a couple years ago. The book is about the treatment of refugees. Okay, the character is called Little B, and it says she sat in a detention center for 2 years after she smuggled herself out of Nigeria, and then she was cut loose in England without any support. She left her homeland in desperation and fear for her life, and now she had to fend for herself with no money and no direction. The center offered her absolutely no assistance as a freed immigrant. So that's just the topic. Like, what's your book about? A couple sentences about what it's about. That's the topic of your book. Moving on. Now, theme, you use that topic to tell your theme if you're an author. So, theme is what we're trying to get to beyond topic. Okay, it's pretty easy to figure out the topics the author addresses. The plot usually revolves around the topics, right? Like mine's about a disappearance, and the whole story is about this guy trying to find this girl who disappeared, right? The plot revolves around those topics, but the topic is not the theme. So if you take a look here, if you take your possible topics, like your book is about baseball, this book is also about, it takes place during the senior year. So it's about prom and about graduation, the book that I'm talking about, Paper Towns. I could have all those as topics for the book. It's also about a senior in high school who's in love with this girl. So it could be love. Any of those could be topics, but those topics, again, are not theme. Theme is the lesson, it's the moral, it's the really big idea, it's the big message. If you had to tell me a sentence about what the author wanted everyone who read this book to come away with, that's what the theme is. So keep one of those topics in mind. Like for mine's going to be disappearance, right? And then this is kind of the tricky part. You ask yourself, what happens to the main characters around that topic or involving that topic. Like, what lesson does he or she learn about that topic? Okay, so as in my story, the boy is searching for the girl. What does he learn by her disappearance? How does he change now that she's gone out of his life? Um, that right there usually points you right to the theme. So he learns that you don't really ever know people until you have really tried to become that person, to really see them as a person. He saw this girl as like on a pedestal and as something that wasn't a person. But by her leaving, she taught him that we have to see each other as real people and not just ideas of people. That is what the theme is. The topic is disappearance, but through that disappearance, the story, what the main character learns throughout the story, is basically what the theme is. And we're usually supposed to think about that lesson and apply it to our own lives and see if we agree with it. We don't have to, right? We don't have to agree with the theme of an author um, at all. We can totally disagree with it. To complicate things even more, if we can't apply that lesson to our own lives, it's fine. A term for that is vicarious learning, and that just means learning through the actions of others. Even if we disagree with what they're doing, we can see that other people might have that opinion, right? And then even further on the line, how's it more complicated is that most books of literary merit, now that means complex, good books, often have multiple themes or themes that are hard to figure out. And the author wants us to do some serious thinking of our own. There can be a bunch of themes in one book. It doesn't have to be just one themes. And there's no real right answer. If you think there's a theme in the book and you can back it up because you think the author does this and the main characters learn this from the story, then you can present that. And I can't tell you you're wrong if you prove it from the book. One thing that's kind of a pet peeve of mine is that themes are often trying to give out in like one word or just a couple words. And generally speaking, that's not what a theme is. Again, that's more like a topic, right? A theme is a complete sentence that's arguable. Right? When I say that, I mean, it has to be something that I can agree with or disagree with, right? I can't say the topic is just love because love is not something you can agree with or disagree. Love is a topic. But now if I say love stinks, that's something you can agree with or disagree, right? Even that one extra word, making it a complete sentence, love stinks, really makes it so I can agree with or disagree with. So a theme, when you state it, has to be something that you can either agree with or disagree with. And that's basically where we are. I can see this might be a little complicated for you guys, and this is an abstract thing to think about. I usually do a lot of discussion around this. So hopefully at 10 o'clock today, we can get together and talk a little bit if you have questions. Try to watch this before then. I'm not super optimistic that a lot of you are going to get up early enough to see this till later in the day. So if you're watching this later in the day, I hope I helped clarify this before the fact with you guys. But have a good week this week, you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. I might try to set up an extra meeting time on Thursday afternoon. If anybody wants to get together and see that, I will probably, hopefully, mention that this morning. All right. Well, you guys take care, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.